Looked in terms of body language the last few days. Let's head to New York and bring in body language expert Tonya Reiman. Good morning to you, Tonya.
Good morning.
So let's start at the beginning, Wednesday, the moment when the authorities opened the door, arrested Aaron Hernandez. The look on his face, what did that say to you?
You know, when you first see him, you could see that they're shocked. Obviously, he opens the door without a shirt, so you know he's not expecting them to show up. And then there's this kind of look of surprise. But even with the look of surprise, he still has that flat affect, which is, it's a red flag.
All right, Tonya, soon now we're going to watch a video of him kind of coming out as he's being escorted out of the house, and he's kind of emotionless as he goes to the police cruisers where he's in handcuffs. We're going to roll the video soon here. When you see the video, why don't you kind of walk us through the play-by-play of him? Here it is right here as he's walking out.
See, now look at his tongue. He has an inward lip roll and the tongue is out. Those are indicative not only of a dry mouth, but as he spits, now that's indicative of the dry mouth, but also it's an aggressive movement. When you see somebody spitting, that's an aggressive thing. So here it could have been because he has this anxiety, and what happens when we become anxious, we stop producing as much saliva as we normally do, and that's why you see his tongue is out a lot and he keeps doing these swallows.
Okay, so let's fast forward a little bit. Let's go to the arraignment now. Hernandez kept his eyes on the prosecution, virtually staying just stone-faced the entire time. What does that look say to you?
Okay, now here, look at it. His chin is completely elevated in this look of arrogance and superiority. But not only that, he has a really slow blink rate. Typically, we blink about 20 times a minute. He blinks about 10. So his blink rate is slow. I would expect it to go up, and that's another red flag. So he's not behaving like somebody who's in this situation. So when you see somebody who's not behaving appropriately for the situation, you have to wonder what's going on in his mind. The only time I saw any kind of movement from him, any kind of leakage that would indicate he was feeling anxiety, was when the missing gun comes up. And when the missing gun comes up, then you see the hard swallow, you see him look away, he gets fearful, his eyes get big for a brief second, and that's the only movement we see.
What exactly does the licking of the lips say to you? Because he seems to do that often.
Yeah, and you know what? I was trying to baseline him, meaning I was trying to figure out what his regular signs were before he came in, and I couldn't find that much video, but I do notice when I do see like some of the football video, he does stick his tongue out a lot. It's typically indicative of somebody who's nervous. And again, when you're in front of the cameras, you're going to be nervous. In this situation, it's the same thing. He's being surrounded by police officers, so his mouth is going to dry up, the saliva production slows down, and then he licks his lips and sticks his tongue out. Sticking out your tongue is also an aggressive sign because what it says really is I'm disgusted by what's going on. So you have to put it into context to see what he's in at that moment. But I would say that there was a lot of aggression, a lot of superiority, a lot of arrogance, and at the same time, not as much fear as you would anticipate, or not even as much surprise at what's going on.
Okay, Tonya, let's go to yesterday at the bail review hearing. We're seeing pretty much kind of the same blank expression that he had in the original bail arraignment here, but then once he's denied bail, he barely bats an eye. He just seems very
all he does, he just blows a kiss to his girlfriend and he's gone. So again, that flat affect raises flags because you want to see somebody who's like shocked, like what do you mean? So when you see somebody who's not acting appropriately for the situation, that's a big question.
Tonya, in court, do they have people such as yourself providing this information to either side of the legal teams to either give him advice as they proceed or to maybe use against him?
We actually, yes, but it's more part of the early, we're more on the private side. We don't do that in court. We would coach somebody, help them get through something, or we do a lot of things with the jury.
Okay, so speaking of that coaching, how would you counsel Hernandez moving forward if you were brought in to do that?
You know, the sad thing is you can't force someone to demonstrate emotions that they're not feeling. So if he has this flat affect, it's primarily because he's not feeling the emotion. So all you can say is try to make stronger eye contact with some blinking. Like I would ask him, and that might sound difficult, but to just be aware that he blinks so slowly because it's intimidating when you look at someone and they don't blink. So if you looked at him, a lot of times he was almost stalker staring you, just deadpan staring. So I would say you want to, number one, change your facial expression a little bit. Go from, that neutral, hard expression to one that looks as if he's surprised or fearful or at least concerned about what's going on. I would also tell him to do the blinking a little bit more, and I would tell him to keep his tongue in his mouth.
All right, Tonya Reiman, thanks for taking the time to join us this morning here on NFL AM.
Thank you. Take care.
Up next, our countdown of the top 100 plays of 2012 continues. A member of the Steelers secondary comes in at play number 26.